this topic has come up a lot in my group, in my wrestling group. And to be honest, there's just a lot of things that are still in my head that bug me about Crown Jewel. Now, I'm not going to go too much into detail about the controversies and everything that's gone on over there. You heard that enough from so many wrestling outlets. But there are some things that I believe that should have happened and should not have happened for that event. And I'm going to go ahead and just say it because I think everybody is avoiding it because of the sake of progression. They don't want to talk about the Lacey versus Natalya match. And they try to talk about it as positive as they possibly can have it. But there's so many things that bug me about this match. Now, despite my absolute disdain for Natalya's character, it's not about that at all. And I'm not going to lie, she had a water bottle thrown at her. She handled it like a professional. But that's Natalya. She's going to handle it like a professional. But I do tip my imaginary hat off to her for that. But to be honest, I'm looking at how they were dressed. They went in there looking like it was freaking laundry day. Now, everyone said, well, they were there, women were there. They're the first ever. And in my humble opinion, I honestly don't believe that. I think that there had to be women that weren't documented that actually wrestled in the country. But I don't think that WWE was the first. There had to be other women out there that attempted it, but it just either was an epic fail or it wasn't recorded. But that's just my own personal opinion. I have no evidence backing that up, but I digress. When you remember, and I know a lot of people remember this, when Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss wrestled in Abu Dhabi, you saw their ring attire. Their ring attire looked leaps and bounds better than Lacey and Natalya's. They didn't look like it was laundry day. They went out there looking like professionals. They went out there looking like the actual characters they were. And Alexa Bliss looked like a champion. They looked appropriate. They went out there. They wrestled a good match. From what WWE showed us in the clip, from what I saw on their not website, but on their YouTube channel, it was a pretty decent match. There wasn't a lot of people in the crowd, but they still put on a good match and showed them why women's wrestling is well liked in this country. They didn't do that at Crown Jewel. It was a pathetic attempt for progression, and that bothers me to no end. No one will talk about it because it was two women for the first time ever, and I'm putting that in air quotes, that they went out there and that, we should be positive about it. Yeah, it's a very, very positive moment. But it's just, there's no way that this was pre-planned. According to Stephanie McMahon in an interview, she said the reason why they're not having Evolution is because they put so much focus on Lacey Evans and Natalya going over there to wrestle in Crown Jewel. If that was the case, they would not have ever worn what they wore. I'm sorry, they wouldn't have. They would have never went out there looking like that. And I'm going to put another picture up there again of Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks. Look at their ring attire compared to Laundry Day. Does that look like preparation to you? And Natalya looked like she's been wearing the same ring attire that she wears here. And Lacey Evans looked like she just got out of the gym. This was last minute. If you're going to have women wrestle in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, if it is the first time ever, you show them why women's wrestling is well liked in the country that is representing them. You show them why we like women's wrestling. You give them the best 2 minutes of your life. You go out there looking nice. You go out there looking like you're actually a credible champion or a credible threat. You look legit. You don't look like Laundry Day. That was done so poorly. It bugged the crap out of me. Nobody wanted to talk about it negatively because of women and progression. I'm a woman and I'm going to speak negative on it. If you wanted these women to go out there and possibly either be booed or be insulted by just being there, you show these people that go out there why they like women's wrestling in the places they represent. They didn't do that here. It was poorly executed and it bugged the crap out of me. But the one thing I'll say is this: nothing that I say is going to take away that moment for those two women. regardless of how I personally feel about Natalya's character, nothing will take anything away from her or Lacey Evans. And it was worth a lot more to Lacey. And I'm not gonna say it wasn't worth more to Natalya, but Natalya's already on the forefront of being a legend. Lacey Evans is making a name for herself. It probably had more weight for her than it did with Natalya. And Natalya was posing with fans and everything, and it probably did mean something to the women over there. But to be honest, well, like I said, nothing that I can say will take anything away from them. They had their moment, they had their time, and they did that match. Even though it was just completely thrown together to me. But like I said, nothing I can say can take away that moment from those two women, and I am not trying to do that. But the biggest thing that I really think should happen, and I'm hoping will happen maybe in the future down the line, since this has already been settled to be extended, it was already going to go to 2017 anyway. I mean to 2027 anyway. But in my humble opinion, they should not air these. They should not air these in the States. They should not air these in Europe. They should only have this as a house show in Saudi Arabia. Wherever they have it, they can't even tell us where they're going to have it at. If they're that ashamed of having these matches in this country, then don't make it a big deal here. That actually takes away the bill from some of the pay-per-views that we have in the States. Just make it a house show. Make it a house show that airs in that country. They did the exact same thing to the UK. They had Insurrection air over there. We didn't see it here, but it was for them. So why don't you make it into a house show over there, have the spectacles over there, and actually give the wrestlers an option to opt out? Because it's to the point where with Sami Zayn, it's flat out insulting. Say whatever you want about Sami Zayn and how he is as a character, but on the real, the fact that he can't wrestle over there because he's from Syrian descent is messed up. I know that Saudi Arabia doesn't have like the best relationship with Syria right now, but it is kind of messed up that he's persecuted for that. But to be honest, I feel like those that are not in the higher tier don't have a say. They have to go over there and do it anyway when they should have the option to opt out. Most of them have families. They should have that right to opt out. Now, they don't have to be like in the top 20 in order to opt out. But regardless of all that, this should be, number one, a house show just showing the country. And number two, they should give their wrestlers an option to opt out and not go over there. Because to be honest, this whole thing is a PR disaster. I don't know how they're going to be able to clean this up. And in my humble opinion, they should scrap it in the States. They should scrap it in Europe and just have it in the country for them to watch. Because it's never going to fly here, no matter how hard they try.